Former Vice President and current presidential candidate Mike Pence was confronted during a recent event of some kind, a town hall, by a Trump supporter about the rare, really good thing he did in his career, which was not going along with Trump's coup attempt and not trying to block the certification of Joe Biden's win, as you would do if you cared about our Constitution, you would do if you cared about democracy. And that's what, like I said, a rare instance of integrity on the part of Mike Pence. That's what he did. He went along with his obligation to the Constitution. And this Trump supporter at this event, very unhappy with him for that, and wishes that he had rejected the election results as he was overseeing the counting of the electoral votes, and went along with this John Eastman bonkers, I guess, legal theory, if you want to call it that, to install Trump president, or at least block the certification and then move forward with some other steps later on, the fake elector scheme, all of that. This Trump supporter is very unhappy with Mike Pence. Take a look.
If it wasn't for your vote, we would not have Joe Biden in the White House.
Right.
Joe Biden shouldn't be there. And all those wonderful things that you and Trump were doing together would be
like what?
Continuing, and this country would be on the right path. Do you ever second guess yourself? That was a constitutional right that you had to send those votes back to the states.
False.
It was not like you were going to personally elect him. We all know by the number of votes that were there who won that election.
I ask again, sorry, I know I'm pausing a lot, but what would be the point of an election if one guy or one gal, one person could go as the vice president? Nah. For some reason, I have the power to just deny the results of the election.
The Constitution is very clear. My job was to oversee the session of Congress where objections could be heard. And I made sure that objections would be recognized. So we would hear whatever evidence or whether debate there was. But the Constitution says you open and count the votes, no more, no less. The Constitution affords no authority for the Vice President or anyone else to reject votes or return votes to the states. Never been done before, should never be done in the future. I'm sorry, ma'am, but that's actually what the Constitution says. No Vice President in American history ever asserted the authority that you have been convinced that I had. And I want to tell you, with all due respect, I said when I announced, President Trump was wrong about my authority that day, and he's still wrong.
Yeah. Correct. And I really wish that these Trump supporters would play out in their head. How would they feel if Trump was running? Let's say it's Trump as the presidential candidate, and even though he seems to be annoyed with her a little bit now, Carrie Lake is the VP running mate. And on the other side was Biden as the presidential candidate and Kamala Harris as the VP running mate. And then when it came and Trump, God forbid, won, and you're a Trump supporter, and the time to certify the election comes around, and Kamala Harris goes, no, we're sending it back to the states. And I'm going to keep sending it back to the states until you fraudulently elect Biden for some reason. If Biden would have lost that election, they would lose their ever-loving mind, rightfully so. And with Trump, it's acceptable, and Pence should have single-handedly rejected the results of a free and fair election. Very absurd, and it shows you people are still bought into and motivated by the lies that Trump started telling before even the 2020 election about it being not free and fair when it absolutely was. Just one other moment, seemingly I think this was the same event from Mike Pence, stepping back into his typical character. Again, he did the correct thing on January 6th. Good. Other than that, not so good. And he possibly accidentally, said something that is far too overt for its depiction of his inside views about the rich and taxation. I think it's accurate about how he feels about taxation when it comes to wealthy and powerful people, but usually you don't admit that you just don't want them to pay their fair share. And I'll explain what he was trying to say, and I think you'll know when you watch this clip, but it's hilarious that he said it this way.
I'm somebody that, I don't really buy into the rich need to pay their fair share. I mean, when you look at the statistics of where we actually get funding for the government.
And then he goes into how much of our taxes come from people who are wealthy. Yes, that makes a whole lot of sense. That's how I want it to be. But there he says, let's see if I can get the quote. Quote, I don't really buy into the rich need to pay their fair share. Now, he was trying to say, I'm sure, I think they should pay their fair share, but they already do, and then some, or whatever his feelings is. They pay so much in taxes. Why would we tax them more? But instead, he said, I don't really think they should pay their fair share. Yeah, we know, Mike.